Good morning, afternoon, evening, gamers. My name is KarQ. We got a couple of Overwatch news. We have stadium win rates and all that fun stuff covered in Director's Take, which we'll do after. But first, I want to look at the Overwatch 2 x Street Fighter 6 collab skins. Now, quick spoiler, there is no E-Honda skin. I know, he's a fan favorite, right? I'm an unethical Honda player. I played in the Sage Am Slam. I popped off, rolled the clip.
Is he gonna Honda headbutt onto the stage? Imagine. I like that.
Yeah,
I'll take that. I like that. I like
good.
that. Missed the bottom of the punish there, but he has the right idea. Oh, he's in a combo. That's the kill, round one to KarQ.
I had a great time there with my teammates. I had Nephew, our coach. If you know Street Fighter, you know who Nephew is. We had SK, we had Saikuno, and we had Machina X Flayon, a VTuber. And it was a great experience. But nonetheless, let's take a look at all the Overwatch 2 skins that they have with Street Fighter. There was a full trailer drop, but shout out to Overwatch Cavalry. They kind of screen capped the trailer on the Overwatch channel to show you who we have. We have Hanzo as Ryu. We have Juno as Chun-Li. We have Widowmaker as Cammy. In this specific Cammy outfit, which I was surprised. I thought it was going to be her modern Street Fighter 6 outfit, but we have Kiriko as Juri. I mean, obviously, Overwatch has to always have a Juno and Kiriko skin because they know what sells. Some people are going to be a little disappointed. Again, I'm disappointed because there's no Honda, but like, who would have guessed that these two had a skin? And this one's going to sell like hotcakes because Juri is a very feet girly, and if you know what I mean. We have Soldier 76 as Guile. Honestly, this kind of cooks. M Bison as Sigma. That one cooks. Everybody knew this one was coming because his mythic skin already had him with the whole hat on and everything. We knew that was coming. Winston as Blanca, and we have Zenyatta as Dhalsim. Now, I do play some Zen, so I guess we can have a little Dhalsim representation, but I hate playing against Dhalsim, A, and I can't play Dhalsim for the life of me. So, hey, beggars can't be choosers, right? These skins will drop May 20th. Now, let's move on to the actual Director's Take, which covers Stadium by the numbers. All right, Mr. Aaron Keller, the game director, says, "Hi, everyone. I had a great time last week answering your question on Emong's stream and hearing your feedback about Stadium. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on some important and interesting Stadium statistics." Now, if you missed it, Aaron Keller joined Emong's stream for an hour and did a little quick Q&A session. I did not cover that. I actually totally forgot this thing happened, and I had no information from this, so I didn't pull anything out of that, but I'm sure it's somewhere on Reddit, so I apologize for not covering that. Based on my understanding, he was saying that like there's a lot of like interesting win rates and statistics that he mentioned on Emong's stream, and now we get the full article covering and unraveling that in a more, succinct way, so you don't have to sit through the 1 hour Q&A on his stream. So here we go. Game balance is something that's always at the forefront of our minds. Heroes, items, and powers have to be regularly tuned up or dialed back to create a more even playing field for everyone. Prior to launch, we're always testing and ideating internally, but there is one very important aspect of the mix that we can't test for. You, and not the serial killer Netflix show You, but you. Player data is an invaluable tool we use to see what's working, what isn't, and what could use a little more attention. To better show you how that process happens, our data analyst, Ben Troutman, is here to deep dive into how the team uses data on builds to influence balance changes. Okay, so I remember I actually did read the AMA on Reddit last week, and I remember Ben was answering a lot of analytics and statistics stuff in that AMA, but here we go. Hello, Ben the analyst here to chat about builds. One of the trickier but very fun things we get to think about with Stadium. In our Stadium Reddit AMA, I went deeper on how we discover builds in the first place, but in short, it's useful to think about builds as a combination of powers and items that are distinct enough from one another to alter how you play a specific hero. Thinking of builds allows us to consider whether an individual power or item or a combination of many of them is the engine behind a player's success in a match of Stadium. So let's take Juno as an example of how build data feeds into balance changes. So our first balance patch for Juno actually nerfed one of her powers, Cosmic Coolant, which gives a shorter cooldown for Pulsar torpedoes. Our data shows that Juno's most successful power by win rate is Pulsar Plus, giving Juno the extra charge of her torpedoes, and Cosmic Coolant follows by a small margin. The synergy between these two powers means that many of Juno's builds, by our model's estimations, have both powers as a must pick, or in other words, these two are core. And if you don't know what Pulsar Plus is, it's Pulsar torpedoes gain an additional charge, so you have two uses of the cooldown, and Cosmic Coolant is Pulsar torpedoes cooldown is reduced by 0.5 seconds for each target it hits. So this was nerfed. It was reduced by 1 second for each target. Now it was cut in half to 0.5. So if you guys played Stadium in the first week or two, like torpedo builds were everywhere, and Juno was able to fire like 4 of them consecutively because she would obviously hold 2 charges. Fire the first one, hit many targets, shorten the cooldown, fire the second one, shorten the cooldown again, get a third one, maybe get a fourth one. It was kind of obscene. The dominant build variant, let's call this variant 1, from a usage perspective, actually takes a trio of powers. We had Pulsar Plus, Cosmic Coolant, and a power called Medicinal Missiles. In the second variant, we'll call it variant 2, notably takes Pulsar Plus, Cosmic Coolant, and Torpedo Glide. And then the final variant, so variant 3, takes the usual duo of Pulsar Plus and Cosmic Coolant, but hybridizes more of choosing weapon powers like Stinger and Medimaster. And the win rates of these 3 variants diverge strongly. Variant 2 leads the way with 55%, followed by variant 1 with 52%, and variant 3 with 48%. The difference in the success rate of these builds gives us more specific information about exact balance changes to make. So variant 2, the one with 55% win rate, with Torpedo Glide as its standout difference, suggests that the cooldown reduction of Pulsar torpedoes, which was again enabled by the Cosmic Coolant, was actually the main driver of success. So by tuning down Cosmic Coolant, other builds have a chance to succeed. I also pulled some additional stadium statistics on May 5th to better illustrate how things changed or didn't change after the May 1st hotfix patch. Yes, the Juno torpedo build was nerfed May 1st. If you still see Juno torpedoes running around in your recent games, guys, it's actually the nerfed version, and I would say it's still pretty decent because I played against it last night, May 8th, and it was still kind of popping. So across all platforms and ranks, Soldier 76 has been the most played damage hero, and Reinhardt was the most played tank by a decent margin. Juno is still the most picked support on May 5th, but Mercy and Moira are nipping at her heels, get it? Thanks to the hotfix patch. For those heroes, certain powers are your clear favorites. Juno's Pulsar Plus has a whopping 78.1% pick rate, while Soldier's Supervisor, that's one that automatically targets you with Visor, has a 75.4% pick rate. Even after the minor nerfs in the latest balance patch, Reinhardt players are making slightly more diverse builds, either choosing Magma Strike or smashing 32.8% of the time. But being popular isn't everything though. Lucio continues to have the highest hero win rate on both PC at 58% win rate and console at 57% win rate. However, Mei is matching that win rate in higher skill divisions on console. Until her recent adjustments in stadium balance patches, D.Va had the highest tank win rate on console by a wide margin. Nerfs allowed other tanks to taste success on console, and D.Va is now second place in high skill divisions. Okay, before I go on to this graph, holy, so this is where like balance is hard from a dev's perspective when you have to consider A, player perspective, but B, player perspective based on rank, region, and platform. Because I'm a PC player, a lot of my chat on Twitch is PC players, and we all felt D.Va was pretty bad, especially because they nerfed the baby D.Va build. We're like, why did we nerf this when like this other hero is popping off, like Reinhardt, and like Orissa's unkillable? And that's like where player perception is not always the case. Like D.Va being the best winner on console was the biggest like eyebrow raiser for me, because I was also under the impression that she was the worst tank out of the 5 choices we have. Here's the hero pick rates that Ben has provided with us. So Reinhardt, 30% pick rate, followed by Junker Queen being the second most picked, followed by Orisa at about 17%. Sorry, Junker Queen was at maybe like 19%, Orisa at 17%, Zarya at 16%, and D.Va at like maybe 15.5% pick rate, but Rein healthy by a large margin. For DPS heroes, Soldier is the most popular by a huge margin here. Holy, 58% pick rate, followed by Reaper at like 35, Cassidy at 32, Genji at like 26, Mei at 25, and Ashe at like 24. Ashe being the least popular is interesting to me. And then for supports, Juno, the most popular at 46%, Moira at 40%, Mercy at 37%, Kiri at 28%, Ana at like 27%, and Lucio lowest pick rate at 19%. Lowest pick rate. But the next graph will show the hero win rates. Holy. Oh, hero win rate. So Rein most picked and highest win rate at 54.5%, Zarya at 52.5%, and then every other tank was below the win rate. Wait, what kind of, where's the reference for this graph? They just said D.Va was a 55% win rate on console, but this win rate graph shows that, like, you know, Rein and Zarya are above 50%, Junker Queen's at 48.7% win rate, Orisa at 48%, and then D.Va at a 44% win rate. That is very low and very terrible. And that was my perception of it on PC. So maybe this graph is specifically for PC. Did he reference it? So unfortunately, Ben referenced like D.Va's win rate and all this stuff on console, but then they don't actually specify what this graph is referencing, because clearly D.Va is like in the low 40% here for the win rate. So I would have to assume this is PC. For the Reaper, 54.5% win rate, which is really good. Soldier down to 51.5% win rate. Cassie at 49.9% win rate, which is pretty healthy. Genji pretty low though, at 47 and a bit percent. Mei pretty high up there at 49%, pretty much 49. And then Ashe by by far the weakest at 44% win rate, 43.5. And then Lucio here demonstrating his high win rate, 57% win rate by large margin. Juno, a little north of 50%, 50.8%. Moira, like 50.2%. Mercy, just slightly under at 49.5%. Kiriko, slightly there as well at 48.5%. And Ana, down here on the low 46 and a bit percent, 46.2. And this is basically my interpretation of how I would have expected it on PC based on my experience. I'm almost all-star right now, and I played all-star on supports, excuse me. I play a lot of Kiriko, and I obviously am an Ana main as well, if you guys don't know, and I knew Ana was kind of ass in this mode. Like, she's not ass, like she's serviceable for sure, but amongst the rest of the roster, relatively speaking, and how hard the heroes spike based on their powers and items, it felt like Ana was just getting run over a lot. She's kind of slow, and like everybody's so fast and speedy, and like you still have to work on your accuracy. I know there's the auto aiming one, but like the unscope builds might be the best one. Like you have to aim, and then these other heroes have pretty much like auto aim, auto healing, and because all the numbers are super juiced up thanks to Stadium, it felt like Ana was lagging behind a little bit. And again, the Diva and the Ashe interpretation, that's how I felt it was too. Cool context right now to see what's going on behind the curtain. It's me, Aaron again. Thanks, Ben. We also have an update to share on lever rates in Stadium. Initially, we reported a 7% lever rate, but after some tweaks in how we collected data, we are seeing that lever rate is actually closer to 12% on PC, and this seems to be largely coming from first-time players. With lever rates dropping, the more matches one has under their belt. Since Stadium is still so new, we expect the lever rate to drop and settle at a much lower rate in the coming weeks. The philosophy around Stadium balance is a bit different from the rest of Overwatch 2. We want you to feel as though you can have MVP moments in a match, riding the cusp of feeling overpowered, while also seeing the mode as something that does reward skill in both combat and armory strategy. While we want players to feel OP at times, we've already started to see some builds that have high burst potential with a relatively low skill floor, aka that Juno torpedo build. We believe that some of these have gone too far, and we will be looking into some adjustments for them. Variety is still deeply important for Stadium 2. We want you to feel like your hero's strength grows and morphs in different ways depending on the match. Sometimes you'll be the carry, and sometimes you'll take a supporting role. Stadium won't be as delicately balanced as our core competitive modes, but our goal is to keep it casually competitive. Thanks for all the excellent feedback about Stadium, and we hope you keep on climbing the ranks. As always, let's make a great game. Pretty cool to see the context behind it. I personally am still enjoying Stadium quite a bit, but you can see some of the whole competitive balance cracks now that some of the meta builds have been solved, quote unquote, and people are just running that every time. There's less variety than you think, and there are ways to obviously build against certain heroes that are really strong. But I think one thing that I thought of recently, I don't know if you guys like this idea, was that like spending a certain amount of Stadium cash, one-time expense, to change a power, because like obviously it's locked in for the match, but you can't just like randomly change it, but it has to come at a cost. So maybe like 10,000 cash, and I change one specific power, either A, because I misclicked, or B, I think it's worth to invest that 10K. Like obviously if you spend 10K right now, you can buy a purple item, which is a pretty big spike. So losing 10K to switch a power for your specific matchup, I think would be kind of cool. Cause like there's a lot of times you would queue like Junker Queen, and then the enemy team happens to be like Kiriko and like Zarya, and you try to make a build around like to beat them, and then they're just building things that just make your life more miserable, and you kind of want to switch things up, especially on round 6 or 7 if you can make it that far. You take the 10,000 Stadium cash gambit and you reverse one of your powers to change up your build. I think that I don't know if that would ruin the whole casually competitive. Maybe that's too wild of an idea, but that's just something I thought of. They also mentioned stuff about consumables that you could buy to power you up for the round. I think that's great too. If you guys have any more feedback for Stadium, let me know in the comments. Hopefully you guys are still enjoying the content. Hopefully you like the Street Fighter stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.